Oh, the streets are cold and grey, but the fire in our hearts won't stray from the pitch where dreams collide. We'll stand together side by side. Oh, when the Spurs go marching in, when the Spurs go marching in, I wanna be there in that number. Oh, when the Spurs go marching in, from the north to Wembley's light, under stars we own the night.
Hello, welcome back to Project Spurs. The lads are back together, other than our poorly brummy mate, Si, who's feeling under the weather today. So it's the four of us back together to chat all things Tottenham. And lads, I've got a little secret. We are not, and I repeat, not talking about a Tottenham loss, which is very, very lovely to say to you all and the on viewers and listeners. The sun was shining today. It was lovely. Players are back from injury. Some of them are returning. We've got an important point in Liverpool. And Igor Tudor's confirmed that Destiny Udogie, Lucas Bergvall and Cuti Romero, easy for me to say, are all available for tomorrow night's Champions League clash against Atletico Madrid. Unfortunately, there is, when we think there's a light at the end of the tunnel, as Ange Postecoglou said, there is an oncoming train. Dominic Solanke has a small problem and will be assessed tomorrow. We know when small problems or knocks are spoken about at Tottenham, that might mean maybe 13 months out injury. But Callum, starting with you, how was your weekend? Not a Tottenham loss to discuss, and the sun's shining. And you got a beard or a goatee.
Well, yeah, got a goatee, mate. Got a goatee. Had to do it. Made myself look a little bit tiny. I'm actually wearing Spurs clothes for once, so I'm happy. So what can we say, mate? We're not discussing a loss. That's what we want. We're actually happy. Joseph's actually got a smile on his face as well, which is like having hell freeze over and pigs can fly. So it's wonderful, mate. It's freaking wonderful.
Joseph was the one in our group chat earlier saying how he wanted to start talking about Tottenham Hotspur today. That is unlike Joseph. He was like, can we get on now? Can we go early? Can we go 4 hours early even? He even wanted to come on at 1 o'clock this morning. He was that excited about talking all things Tottenham Hotspur. Look at the smile on his face. Joseph, it's been a cracking weekend. It's only been a point.
If I say, imagine if we got a win. Imagine if we got a win. You know, we'd be all over the moon. We'd be on podcasts all night long, every night. But yeah, no, I'm feeling pretty good. You know, a disclaimer: I didn't actually watch the game. At least I didn't watch the first 80 minutes of the game. I stuck to
Joseph,
what I was saying.
It's been great having your analysis for today's show.
I've gone through it. And watched it back and had a look at it all. But I mean, going into that game, I was as pessimistic as I probably could be. I really, I predicted on Harry's Scarf channel, I thought we would lose 5-1. I know Liverpool have been poor, but I really just had no faith in Tottenham. And I switched it on with about 10 minutes to go because I was like, you know what, we're not getting battered. I might as well watch the last 10 minutes. Who knows? Maybe we'll concede one, but at least let's see what happens. And obviously ended up celebrating a goal. But I can't. I'm feeling so much more positive and so much more optimistic about the games coming up and about the rest of the season. I mean, that could change very quickly. We'll have to wait and see what happens on Sunday. But until then, I want to be positive. I want to think about what's coming next and be hopeful that Tottenham can get out of this situation because it's been a dismal season for all of us, and I think it's so nice to finally have a moment to actually feel positive about. So definitely excited to get into it today.
We're happy, which is great to see. Obviously, Phil joining us from sunny Amsterdam. We all know what he's doing there. He's meeting Joanne Lange for a special cup of tea, let's just say. A point for Tottenham, but obviously 3 points for Eintracht Frankfurt as well. Or a win. I don't know, are they in the cup, are they? I'll unmute you. Because I think you're frozen. It's a cracking start to Project Spurs.
The red light district is getting a bit too much.
He's
connection
been
going as
called.
well.
Yeah, the red light has called
So all
Phil.
the other
and
results, like,
Oh.
am I back?
Yep.
I think so.
How did
Stop
you get
playing
on?
with your Stop playing with your dongle in the red light, mate.
That was earlier on.
Bet it was.
Yeah. Well, I walked
Oh my
past
God.
the red light.
Yeah. Walked past.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you see Johan in one of the windows? He's found a new profession.
No comment. I think no comment.
I think Phil's
Oh.
found a new profession by
He's a
that.
regular. Yeah, I've done 23,000 steps actually in Amsterdam today. So the weather was sunny here as well, so it was nice. But yeah, unexpectedly something good from Spurs at the weekend, and I was really worried we'd lose like 6-0 or 5-0. And after the Woolwich result and all the stuff on Saturday as well, I was just like a bit annoyed about that. But yeah, Frankfurt won, which is good because they got a chance of the Europa League, or certainly Conference League. Maybe they've got a chance to qualify. But yeah, just positivity, isn't it? And great to see some fight from the players. Great to see actually Igor Tudor making some better decisions, whether injury induced or not. And I'm really, really happy with how he dealt with the press, with those bastards, kind of after the game, but also just generally like attacking him constantly, right? And trying to get sound bites out of him. And I thought he did really well. Really happy for Tudor, actually. We've been slating him. Pretty much everyone's been slating him, right? Being on his back for the last weeks. And he's deserved a lot of that. But you could see how much of a relief it was for him, just to get something out of that game. And it felt like a win, didn't it? Being in the 90th minute, 91st minute almost, like in terms of the vibe. So fair play to him and fair play to the players. And I just hope that he doesn't start, tinkering again ahead of mainly on Sunday. Tomorrow he can do what he wants. But it would be nice to get a result, wouldn't it? So we don't go into that game, after getting thrashed or something.
Well, we don't. Yeah, we'll obviously come on to that shortly, but positive reactions, I guess, from going 1-0 down isn't something that we get to say very often on this show. If anything, Cal, it's normally the opposite, isn't it? Normally adversity and the players sort of crumble, but they show some real character.
Yeah, definitely. I think the whole line from the press has been that we've got no fight left in us, isn't it? And that we're desperate to go down. And I didn't really see that from 95% of that game. We were going for it, and realistically, we probably could have won it as well, couldn't we? To be honest, if we're honest. So yeah, I'm up for having a fight back, and we know Richie loves a goal against his old neighbours in Liverpool. So really happy days that we've got that fight, and they are going for it for Tudor. Realistically,
it looks like they're going with Tudor. Phil, do you think it's either Tudor's got a tune out of them, or is it the case that it's very much they've realised the grave situation that they're in and having to just knuckle down and really fight?
I think it's probably the second one. I think it's probably the fact they've actually realised they've got to knuckle down and fight. But there could be something in it that, Tudor's found something there. It felt to me a bit like maybe Tudor's actually had a sit down with all of them, or, they've kind of done something in the squad, and they've really gone deep into, what we've been saying that last week. If we get some Spurs people in, they're going to talk about what it means to the club, like the fight, staying up, like that they've got to like show the fans and everything. And I wonder whether they did spend a bit of time last week after Atlético doing that, like going one-to-one with the players and, or as a group or whatever. I think there was definitely something that's happened there, and it's probably a mixture of both. I mean, look, Tudor Tudor's not stupid, right? He's not an idiot. You know, he has been a manager for 10 years, you know, so he's been around the block. You know, he's been under immense pressure. Liverpool away, I think the players probably thought as well, look, you know, we need to show a bit of pride here. Like we need to show that we're, after that Atletico result, that we're going away to obviously a team where we normally lose. And we're just going to actually show the rest of the press, the rest of the, you know, because the press have been on the players' backs as well. You know, they've been making up stuff. There's a lot of fake rumors going around about Mickey, you know, like saying that he doesn't care and, you know, that he's going to, you know, obviously leave the club in the summer. Came out today, I think, didn't he? And made a statement about that, saying there's a lot of rubbish out there. And look, I think the players have probably just finally twigged as well, really, that they've got something to fight for here. And it's not just the club as well, by the way. It is kind of a bit their pride and their situation as well, because the players don't look good, do they, if we end up going down? You know, you don't want to be forever associated. If you go down as a player, even the relatively more younger ones, they will forever have that on their CV, right? That they went down with the mighty Tottenham and they were part of that. So yeah, but it was just,
you don't want that on your CV, and equally you are in the shop window, because the reality is there are going to be a number of changes in the summer, and it might be an easier get out once you've saved a team rather than going down with one.
The other thing is, Gary, that there's going to be some players there that are probably happy to stay with the club, right? I know we were kind of going a bit overboard maybe on reflection over the last days or weeks, saying that not everyone wants to leave. Obviously, there'll be a lot of players that would be willing to move on. But look, if we stay up and let's say Pochettino comes in or someone of his caliber, and let's dream for a bit and maybe like say that the board, you know, or whoever is in charge, you know, ends up investing in something, then the players have got another situation, haven't they? They've got a new start, but, you know, the clock goes back to zero. And, you know, they're playing in the Premier League, right? Continually, right? A lot of these players, you know, they love living in London as well, which is something which is probably, I say, underrated, right? But, you know, these players are lucky in some ways to live in London, right? And have everything that offers. And yeah, I think they've just realised that they've got to now knuckle down, you know, and after what happened to Kinski and in that game against Atletico where everything went wrong, you know, they probably just realised, look, we need to show what we're about now. And I just hope, I hope that tomorrow evening that we do perform effectively, you know, and look, even if we don't, it's unlikely we're going to get anything out of the game, isn't it? But if we just turn up and we actually play with energy again and continue it from Liverpool, then that gives us hope for Forest, doesn't it?
Yeah, and there's some positivity coming out. So obviously Lucas Bergvall was training today. Christian Romero was training. You've got Destiny Udogie was also training, all with the first team, Joseph, but equally on separate pitches. In the back pitch there was James Maddison and Palhinha. Where would you go with the three returning players in terms of looking ahead at Atletico Madrid? We'll come back to Liverpool, but those returning players, where are you sitting up with those? Because look, Lucas Bergvall, none of us expected till after Forest, really.
Yeah, that's the really shocking one, Lucas Bergvall coming back, and obviously it's a great. You know, it's great news to see him back on the training pitch, you know, quicker than maybe expected, especially with Tottenham's injury history and players being out for so long. You don't expect players to get back quicker than normal. Usually it takes longer than expected. So, yeah, it's great to see him back. Again, I would be careful. I think all of them need to get minutes tomorrow in terms of Bergvall, Romero, although obviously it's just a concussion. It seems like he's okay. I'm sure he'll be fine for the weekend. But, you know, I just think, and Udogie, I think they just need to get minutes under their belt, maybe not start the game, or maybe start the game and come off. Again, for me, obviously tomorrow it'll be great to get a result, but it is a bit of a free hit, because I think right now, and you could even tell that from the post-match interview, I know we'll go into Liverpool itself, but when Porro and Richarlison were talking, they were saying how important Sunday is. They weren't really thinking too much about midweek. I think even the players themselves are going, the league is what matters. We need to be ready for that game against Nottingham Forest. So yeah, it's great to see players back. Obviously, Paulinho and Maddison were both training separately so it doesn't seem like Paulinho will be back for this game. Maybe not even for Forest. We'll have to wait and see. And then Maddison, we don't know how long term it's going to be from now. He was obviously given like regular updates, wasn't he? He was on his YouTube channel. We haven't heard anything about him for a while now in terms of how his progress is going, how long it's going to be before he gets back on the pitch. I'm sure he's desperate to, especially with the situation Spurs are in. I bet he is dying to get back on the pitch and help Tottenham out of this situation. But yeah, we just got to hope it keeps on ticking along. Bergvall coming back, Udogie coming back are important. It's about who comes next after that Forest game as well. Obviously, Forest game matters and getting the result there. But what's going to happen in that 3-week break? Are we going to see Kudus come back? Or how far away is Benson? Or how far away are some of the other players that are kind of expected to be in and around the team after that 3-week break? So it's great to see some players coming back, and they should definitely get some minutes tomorrow. But I think for me, tomorrow it should be some of the youngsters getting some minutes, and I'm sure we'll talk about Olasisi, we'll talk about Roswell, how they played against Liverpool, but why not give them a chance and give the players who are currently playing a rest? Because the fact is, we need everybody fully fit for that game against Forest. Gray and Sarr, most important in terms of the midfield. Throw in Olasisi tomorrow and give him the start, and again, the fans will not get on his back if he doesn't do things perfectly. Fans will be there to support him. And it gives the chance for Gray to go and have a rest. We don't want to have any other injuries throughout this rest of the season.
No, I agree. I thought coming into the Liverpool game, there was just worry and concern constantly. And if anything, there was an interview with Stephen Corker that went out where he was talking about being in a relegation fight before, and he said actually playing away from home, it's actually a bit easier because you don't have as many fans on your back. And I use that as an example on Last Word on Spurs that hopefully this might be the case for Tottenham against Liverpool, not thinking that effectively, Cal, it was. They went there with next to zero expectation on them. The only expectation really was they were going to lose the game. And I thought, if anything, we were the better team. And if anything, I honestly think we were quite unlucky not to win that because Richarlison had a number of chances.
Definitely. I think the guys played without sort of pressure. And that's kind of what I saw in this one, because the expectation, like you say, we was destined to lose. I mean, I think I said in a couple of group chats that how about we just don't turn up and we just take the 3-0 loss that you get sanctioned with if you forfeit a game. It'd probably be better than how we would lose potentially. Like Joseph said, 5-1, he predicted we'd lose for it. I then got reminded that we'd probably get sanctioned by the PMGOL and everyone in the Premier League for not turning up to a game for it. But realistically, they played with heart. They played with their heart. They played out of themselves, I think, realistically, in a very mismatched team. And Richie he showed so much of the frustration that we see with Richie, but then also he got the moment that we all celebrate as well. And obviously there is one point that we all kind of said about previously was Van Dijk once again as well deciding to get handsy and friendly with Richarlison going into the box as well, and it wasn't even picked up on ref watch. So we could have probably had a penalty. We had the chances in that game to win it realistically, but Liverpool didn't exactly play their full strong strength 11, but they are there to be got at, to be honest, because realistically, apart from that free kick, they didn't have enough opportunities, I think, to really win it fully. And to actually score that free kick, they got it from a dive, and Flappy Hands in goal decided to be his usual clown of a self to not reach the ball.
Yeah, it was a poor goalkeeping. I don't know what he was doing. He's on his tiptoes to try and save it. It's very odd, interesting way of trying to save it. Phil, just coming to you, question in the chat. Spurs TV 8947 says, "Evening lads, have we turned the corner, or is this a jump start we need?"
Yeah, I think it is a kind of jump start. I mean, we have zero consistency, though, do we? Anyways, right? This season, we've seen so many games where we, haven't turned up for the first half, then we've kind of turned up for the second half, or vice versa. But we obviously haven't, gone on a run of form. But that game, at the end of the day, as we've said already, was the most energy and fight and probably running in some ways from a Spurs team that we've seen, possibly even all season, or maybe at the beginning of the season, right, when we won a couple of those games under Frank. But there was that stat actually that came out about Tudor as well yesterday, that was out on X, which said that game actually, along with pretty much all of Tudor's games so far, have got the most running, kilometers or miles traveled by our players out of any of the games this season. So basically all of Tudor's games so far, the players have run more, traveled more distance than any of Thomas Frank's, games this season. So number one, what the hell was Thomas Frank doing? But number two, we've all got on his back, Tudor, and obviously he knows he's gone in the summer. We know he's going to be gone in the summer, but that was a reaction. And I think it is some kind of jump start. Even if, again, we don't want to get thrashed or lose badly against Atlético tomorrow. But if he plays players in their proper positions, kind of, and, we've got confidence going into Forest, and the fans are going to turn up, aren't they? There's stuff planned. So yeah, it is a jump start. I think we have to kind of accept something, but we have to also believe in it as well, because the players, there is something more there.
Yeah, Joseph, coming to you, what impressed you the most out of the game? What stood out for you? I think for me, the togetherness. There was clearly a togetherness, and there were some leaders on the pitch. I think Pedro Porro was a good leader. Kevin Danzo, definitely. Archie Gray and Matisse Tell. Every time he got the ball, tried to go out of play and tried to beat them. So those are sort of the leaders I think that we had, and for me that was the most important, or more the most impressive part of the draw. What was it for you?
I think obviously, yeah, that togetherness is definitely key. I think it's a bit of bravery. I think the players stood up and realised where they were at, and I don't know if that came from maybe little expectation, the fact that we were away at Anfield and maybe there wasn't much expectation to get a result, so they just kind of played their hearts out and went for it. So it was just great to see a team trying, a team that didn't look defeated, which is what we've seen in many games, especially recently. The Palace game, especially, multiple games this season we've seen it. But, it felt like we went 1-0 down off of a free kick. And, from what we've seen, that is usually when we will fall, into ourselves, and we'll put our heads down and we'll feel like we've got no chance. Well, we stayed in the game, we kept going. And we got what we deserved from the chances we created, from the fight that we had. And again, everyone said it. Tottenham deserved that result. We played very well. It wasn't like Liverpool got unlucky. No, we were as good as Liverpool in that game, if not better. And it's great to see that fight. I mean, I think we've all kind of shared our opinions on Igor Tudor, and myself as well, obviously kind of watching him previously. And I still don't think he's the right man. I don't think you're going to sack him now after getting a good result, but I don't think he's the right man. But I think his hand was forced into a change with all these injuries, and we played a simple football game. We set up as a 4-4-2. We, again, obviously some players out of position, but he just simplified the game, made it long ball. And to be honest, why have we not thought about doing something like that before? When you've got Solanke and Richarlison, two players who can battle in the air quite well. Because what we've always done previously is have one up front and you play it long. And if the player wins it, it bounces off him and goes to the opponents. Well, if you've got Solanke up there and he wins it, Richarlison can be around for the scraps, other way around as well. So he simplified the game and it worked. Play the players in their positions and let them just play football. Stop overcomplicating it with these three at the backs, left wing back, right wing back, midfielders interchanging. It's just simplify the game and play football. And that's what we saw. If you look at that team on paper, especially with the injuries, Kevin Danzo and Dragusin away at Anfield, that sounds awful. But the fact is,
the only left-footed player that we've got that we're crying out for, we end up putting him right
Sousa
wing.
was right mid. Yeah, exactly. But the fact is, you simplified it and you gave them. Everybody knew what position. Because I'm sure growing up, 4-4-2 was something all of them must have played at some point throughout their footballing careers. There's no way they all started playing a 3 at the back or anything like that, even in youth days. So just simplifying the game, and it showed it worked because the players, all they had to do was be counted for themselves. There was no, tactical issue in the game. It was just fight, do your job, and play football, and that's what they did, and we got a result from it. So it's great to see. I hope that with players coming back, he doesn't revert back to this 3 at the back and try and play some expansive type of football. I think right now all that matters is solidarity. Stop conceding silly goals, which is one thing. I mean, the free kick is pretty poor from Vicario's sense, but in terms of defensively, there was a couple of mistakes in there, but obviously none that led to goals. So overall, it was a great performance, a team performance to see, and I think the bravery they showed, especially in moments where they could easily have dropped their head, was impressive to see.
Yeah, Cal, for you, Kevin Danzo, I know Richarlison, Gray, Tell, Spencer, they all had excellent games. I thought Souza, to be fair, for a guy that's just come from Brazil, that's a left back, playing right wing, he didn't look out of place either, to be completely fair. What sort of stood out for you in the Liverpool game, Cal?
Probably actually being quite solid at the back, realistically, with an unnatural partnership. Big Kev is a very reliable favourite of mine, to be honest. He's sort of like Ben Davies. He does the simple things right. That's what I want. Seeing Archie as well do well is great. Tell, I thought there was good moments. I thought that maybe the structure didn't fully suit him, to be honest, because he was trying to make all the runs we want. It was just down blind alleys, but realistically, there was structure to the side. That's what I wanted. Whereas seeing a 3-4 or 3-5-2 doesn't fill me with confidence of a structure that we're comfortable with. So yeah, I think individually, there was a lot of standout, but even just seeing the team in a formation that is a little bit more simplistic but comfortable, I was happy with as well, to be honest. And with that, then having players like Richie and Solanke up front, who are 2 of our most assured goal scorers and playing well together, was really good as well.
Phil, just coming to you, Forest obviously picked a point up, but the night before, West Ham picked up a really big point against Man City. Man City could have scored right at the end, really, with a couple of yards out from Mark Gahey. It felt like we might find ourselves in the bottom 3 at the end of the weekend. But as I say, crucial, and important point. Something to build upon, though, isn't it? And then, obviously, with the returning players, is there a light at the end of a tunnel?
Yeah, there is. But I mean, it's funny just how these little things create a bit of positivity, don't they? They literally create a little spark, and you can take that next step. So like today, the news of Bergvall being back, Udogie, being back, and I would imagine he'll probably play Udogie on Sunday, right, on the left, to give that natural width, hopefully. But little things like that just add on to that as well. And every single point we can get, we need the wins. We know we need to win some of these home games. We know we need to beat Forest. We know we need to try and beat, the likes of Everton and, some of those other teams that we're playing at home, but which are winnable. But with those little things coming, even if it's just a point, even if it's scoring that last minute equalizer, even if it's a player coming back from injury, they're all positives. And look how quickly it's galvanized the fan base since Sunday. 2 days ago, right, we were absolute doom and gloom last week. We were absolutely broken again after Atlético, after those things that happened in that game, with Kinski, we were saying you can't make these things up. It's part of this Spurs, saga. But just the one little thing happening, one little point, obviously a win, that does change the situation at the moment. And
we desperately need that win. We desperately need that first win, don't we?
And Cal mentioned it. I mean, Joseph, you mentioned it as well. But Cal, you said earlier, like having Solanke and Richie, just an example up front. I love the fact that we ended up playing like a 4-4-2. You know, really an old school, solid system with 2 strikers up front. You know, playing close to one another, Solanke and Richarlison working hard. You know, going after the scraps almost, right, from some of those long balls, and it should have been rewarded, right, with the Virgil van Dijk incident as an example, right? But that came because we had 2 strikers just fighting up front, you know, and Richie got wrong side of him, right? He got the right side of it. He got on the wrong side of Virgil van Dijk from his perspective. But that came from having 2 strikers up there causing problems for Liverpool and actually playing long ball on duration, which isn't a problem at the moment, right? If we're staying solid, I don't think anyone's expecting Ange ball football now, are they? But, you know, if we can play long balls and stuff if we've got the people up front, if we keep the solidity at the back, which we managed to do. So there is a lot of positives to take out of this. You know, we need to just build on every single one of them, right?
There's definitely some positives to take. Obviously, some of the positives coming out are the fact that we gave 2 Premier League debuts to some of our younger youth products. Just for anyone that does follow along and isn't aware, our under-18s were in action today against Chelsea under-18s in the top of the table clash. Tottenham were, before kickoff, 4 points ahead of Chelsea. It did end 1-1 at Tottenham's training ground, Hotspur away. So it's I think Chelsea have a game in hand as things stand. So it's a 1-1 that's finished about 25 minutes ago, 1-1. But Joseph, as I was saying, Cal, as I was saying, good to see James Rosewell and Callum Olasesi make their Premier League debuts. Thought Callum in particular was impressive. Some stats that he actually made more pass completions and touches within the final third. Within his 15 minutes of being on the pitch, actually was second in Tottenham's list for that, and that was in 15 minutes. Came on, wasn't scared to get on the ball, was dictating play. I don't know if anyone would seen it. He is actually trying to dictate play for people in and around him, people of his peers that are a lot older and more experienced than him, so didn't look out of place. And then obviously James Rosewell, right at the end there, critical defending. How did you see? Happy to see them playing, I'm sure, Cal, because we've watched them a lot this season.
Yeah, these are 2 lads who mean a lot to me and you, ain't it, Gal? And realistically, Callum is someone who was touted to move in January. He was looked at by Feyenoord, PSV, Torino, Leipzig. So to have that many people who consider you part of their first team future is great. And realistically, he didn't look out of place. He looked more comfortable than Balloon Boy, for example. So I'm over the moon that he's part of this setup. I thought he did look comfortable. He did try to make things happen. And he's one of them people who has been in the Spurs Academy since below the age of 10. So realistically, he knows where it is to play for Tottenham. We need players like this. And obviously then with Rosewell, he tracked his man well, and they forced the issue at the end to force the mistake from Liverpool, because they could have scored in that last moment and they didn't, and it then allowed Dragusin to clear it. So really happy with both of them. I believe that they'll probably be part of the squad more and more. Hopefully they get minutes and they can play a part, because if not, I mean, unfortunately for Wayne Burnett, his squad has been pulled apart again. They have taken players. We are losing more games down there. I mean, you've seen more losses recently than we have seen wins, unfortunately, on that.
Yeah, they lost yesterday as well, didn't they, unfortunately? And that's 3 losses in a row for the under-21s. But look, let's be realistic about it. It isn't about winning and losing. It is about developing the players and getting them into the first team. And let's be completely honest with it, Joseph, it's potentially selling players as well, and it's moving them around. It is cutthroat. It was lovely to see 2 players coming through. James is someone that I've talked about all season long. To see him come and make his debut, I thought was fantastic. What was your assessments of seeing them come on the? Because obviously you just started watching the game towards the end, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, I watched the game live towards the end, the last 15, 20 minutes. Obviously, it was Mother's Day, so with my mum, and then got home, saw it was a close game, and thought, I'll go on, I'll put it on and see how it goes. But no, I thought Callum Olasese was really impressive. I thought he just looked comfortable. It didn't feel like the occasion, got to him. He just completely came into the game and looked like he belonged. And that's what you want to see from these young players, especially, get them in there. I mean, away at Anfield has been an absolutely shocking place for us to go for years. And to see him come into it, we're 1-0 down and you've got to kind of come in and just try and just kind of keep the game ticking, especially playing in kind of midfield. And he did that really well. I thought he was really impressive. Again, there was nothing crazily special he did, but that wasn't his role. His role was to get in there and just keep everything going the way it was and keep us in the game. He did that really well. And then James Roswell, I can't say I know too much about him. That was kind of my first real look at him personally, because I haven't really kept up to date as much with some of the youth football. But it's great to see a player have his debut. Again, we're not seeing it enough at Tottenham. We're not seeing players come through the youth academy enough and get into this first team. And the thing is, when they come in and do a job, it makes you think, well, yeah, why can't they be involved maybe next season? Maybe you'll want to go put them out on loan, but we need to see more of these players integrated into our team, because too many times recently we're seeing these players go and end up being sold. We've seen it with many players, especially recently. I remember Dylan Markande, the winger. I think everybody had real high hopes for him, and now he's stuck. I don't know if he's in League One now or the Championship, but we've seen a lot of players kind of have that, where we have those high hopes, but they never really make it. Well, if Callum Olasese is showing that he can be a part of the first team, well, then I want to see him a part of the first team. Let's get him involved, because he can do as good a job as half the players we've got on that pitch at the moment. So, yeah, it was great to see. And again, even in the short cameo that James Roswell had, again, it was impressive to see him run back. I think all of us were slightly shitting ourselves when Richarlison went and celebrated like he did, because I was thinking, we've seen this before. And then they had that chance where it was 4-on-2, and you're thinking, oh my God, they're going to score. I can't believe it. They're going to score. But he tracked it. He ran back. He stood in the right position and just jockeyed, slowed it down, and allowed players to get back. And obviously Dragusin made the block. So yeah, both of them can be really proud of themselves. I'm sure they feel amazing having their debut. But yeah, let's just hope it doesn't slow down. Obviously, I know players are coming back and we're probably going to be integrating them more into the team. But I want to see Callum Olasese especially on the bench in every game, unless he's starting. I think he's a capable pair of hands.
Absolutely, and it shows you as well that if Torino and PSV are interested in him, it's got a future. And I'm pleased that we 100%. Said no, we want to keep him. James Jota did say after the game, when interviewed with Spurs Play, he said, "I'm speechless. I'm so happy. I don't know what to say right now. Proud moment for me and for my family." Phil, he said, "I came here at 8 or 9 and I've done the journey up through the academy. So hopefully we can get more through. This is great for our academy." And I think this is a little brownie point for Igor Tudor. The way he handled himself post-match, and then also giving the two lads a debut. We'll come on to some of these odd things he said before the game, but it's a little extra point for him, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, again, credit where it's due, I think. And he is due that credit, because he didn't have to. I know our bench wasn't particularly strong, but he didn't have to bring on either of those lads, probably, right? But he did. He trusted them in that moment, and as we've said, they repaid that trust. Olasese, look, whether he's going to end up being Premier League level or not, right, in the future, or at like that top level, only time will tell. But he needs to get game time, doesn't he, in those leagues? And it reminded me of when we saw obviously quite a few years back now, but someone like Harry Winks, coming through and kind of getting his debut, or even Skippy, back in the day, and just bringing a bit of that calmness into midfield, which is what Skippy did when he first burst through. We all had hopes, didn't we? Just that Skippy would obviously get to that level, that he'd be Premier League level. But he still had a very good career. But look, Olasese, he kind of got a bit of a similar, he just wants to play it simple, right? Keep it easy. And we need that at the moment in our squad. The options that we have in there, even like, he looks very mobile as well, right? He can get across the pitch very easily, right? And he can kind of, get blocks in. He can kind of win the ball. being able to bring him on for the remainder of the season offers an alternative maybe to play in Palhinha or to bring in Palhinha on. Because I'll tell you what, there's no guarantees when you bring Palhinha on that he's going to bring you control or something of a game, right? He's a different kind of player. So fair play. And yeah, Tudor deserves brownie points for that, I think. And
Callum is very much of a ball carrying 8, really, rather than a 6, isn't he? Cal, he's more. He likes to get on the ball, dictate play. Like I said, he was brave, composed in his performance. There was a lot of work rate, as you said, Phil. He demanded the ball, tried to, as I say, dictate the play, move it as best he can. He did, he did that all inside 14 minutes.
He's more sort of a progressive 8 to 10 sort of role and all that.
I would say he's more of an 8 than a 10. I think he's he'd be very good with and I liked him, but Højbjerg, that type of stopper in and around him. But Cal, just before I come to you on it, we're not going to have any European football next season. That's unless something absolutely insane happens, which could happen, I suppose. But let's be frank about it. It's probably not going to. The likelihood we're not going to have European football for maybe a few seasons. And I think that's the reality that we need to understand. Bringing in a manager next season that is happy to develop players. People like Callum have a big future here because we've got a number of very, very good youngsters. And Callum is part of that. He's very good friends with Mikey Moore as well. He's absolutely killing it out in Scotland. So it's very good to see him. And like you say, you see him as more of an 8.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be obviously based on survival rate at this stage. But if we are like outside of Europe, then we will probably lose a few players in our squad who want to play European football. Okay, fine. So we do need to realistically think that we will lose a lot of money from them decisions as well and not being in a position for that. So the youngsters is where we've got to turn. And we know that with the current crop, Roswell and Byfield, Olasesi, Williams, Barnett, Thompson, they're the closest that are around the club that are still there at the moment. And then on the back of that, we've then got Lancashire, Donley, Devine. So if we do get a attacking based manager who is orientated around youth production and youth promotion, then we're good. But then if we go and get someone like Roberto De Zerbi, then you're waiting for something not to happen. I mean, Igor Tudor, gave 2 debuts. He's probably given more debuts than Thomas Frank has, or as many in 4 games compared to Frank did in 29 games, just say. But if we do get that project right, then that's how Spurs can, one, self-generate money to either sell these players on or get them in the first team, and then also then progress them to the first team to then get them to build with the club and become fully fledged Premier League Premier League players. And if they do, then I think I'd be happy. I mean, I don't like seeing under-21 squads being decimated, but then you take the players out of the 21s, promote them to the first, and that then allows the next crop to come up, like Sinclair, for example, who is very young, but has got over 50 goals and assists this season. Whether he makes it at first team level, he could be the next Rio Griffiths, who ends up playing for a background youth league side or national league team. But this is what we want to see. We want to see Tottenham lads playing, not just foreign overpaid players in our squad.
Well, Sinclair, for anyone that's watching, plays for our under-14s, and he scored so far in the academy 501 goals. This season, he's scored 50 and assisted 17, I think it is. So incredible return goal to GA ratio.
He's made his 18s debut about 2 weeks ago as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he played for the under-18s. Played about 5 minutes, didn't he? Talking to the under-18s, Ahmed Masluka stepped up for the 21s yesterday. He played for the under-21s yesterday. And actually, for me, he looked a big bright spot coming off the bench. It was quite a difficult under-21s. We had Mason King playing at centre-back, who's normally a left-back. He ended up playing left wing towards the end of the game, but Masluka came in at number 10 and actually thought a lot went through him. He went close with a shot as well. He had a shot which was parried, and James Wilson missed essentially an open goal from 6 yards out, which could have evened it up. We did end up losing the game to Leeds 1-0. But yeah, the under-21s, the opportunity for the number of the players to come through is really good. But also, we've got a lot of people out on loan, Joseph, like Will Lancashire, Jamie Donnelly, that are doing really well for Oxford in their sort of revival as well. And those players are the future of this club.
Yeah, I mean, I really think so. It bothered me when I saw that Donnelly had a buy option with Oxford. I don't know if they have the finances to really kind of be able to, trigger that. But it disappointed me because every time I've seen Jamie Donnelly play, he always looked like he has real potential to go far. And again, they've both done well in the Championship, and there's no reason why they can't be involved. I guess the problem that I'll have and the thing that I'll be worried about is what will the club do? If we go down, and I think we're all hoping that doesn't happen. But if we do, I think there is a pathway for these players to come into the team, because players will leave and they will be the ones left. But the problem is if we stay up, which again, obviously we're all hoping we do. And again, part of me feels a bit more confident that will happen at the moment. Again, we'll wait and see what happens on Sunday. But if we do stay up, okay, we will see players leave. I still believe that. I know what Mickey van der Ven said today, and I'm not saying he's going around saying, "Oh, I want to leave. I'm desperate to leave." I think he will leave in the summer, and I think Romero will probably end up leaving, and we're going to have players there who could easily, come in and fill a spot. But will the ownership do that, or will they kind of go on this continuous carousel of buying players, spending money, which a lot of fans are going to want, spending money on players that ultimately aren't going to take us to the level above? But what that's doing is limiting the amount of that pathway for the younger players to come into. And that's what I expect. I expect the ownership, if we do stay up, to go big in the summer. I think they will spend a lot of money because they can see the discontent from fans. They can feel it, and they will do something, especially from what they promised and they didn't do in January. They will do something in this summer. Unless they are going to sell the club, they will be doing something big in the summer to sign players and to try and get back into that European spot. And they will try and fill gaps. They will go, "Oh, we're going to go and buy this player for 40 million. We'll buy this player for 35 million. And overall, they might not actually be good enough long term.
No.
So we've got to hope. I don't know. It's a tough one. It is a tough one.
For you, Joseph, and this is my thinking. I would rather us say, right, we need a left back. Okay, we've got one left back that we're happy with, and let's say Doggy isn't as injury prone as he is. Okay, and he's a regular and he's playing week in, week out. We could really do with probably one more. Why are we not immediately going, right, 21, who have we got? Mason King. Okay, let's see what he's about, and then address that in January and look with him first, because so many big clubs do this. Look at Barcelona. No matter during their obviously financial problems, but they do look internal before they go to other places. And obviously Barcelona are able to bring in the best youngsters from around the globe. We know that, but using that as an example, we need to start looking at these. But we need, like you say, we need a manager and a philosophy throughout the club that we are going to develop our own. I don't see us having Champions League or any European football for a good couple of years. And this is a really good opportunity for us to say, right, we've got 8 or 9 first teamers that are under 25. Let's get in maybe 2 or 3 experienced leaders that have been in the Premier League, and then fill the rest of it with people that we're really excited for, that have perhaps been out on loan. Your Jamie Donnelly's, your Mikey Moores, your Will Lancashire's, and Ash Phillips is captain in Stoke in the Championship right now.
I mean, I can't believe he's never been given an opportunity. From everything we've seen from him, especially in the Championship, he has looked so solid every single season in the Championship. Yet we have refused to really give him an opportunity. Again, it's harder for me to say too much because I haven't watched a lot of the under-21s Tottenham football, so I can't say what the level is. The fact is, if they don't believe that they are good enough for the Premier League, then that's fair enough. Obviously, they need to go out on loan and get chances. But once they do, we don't see them come back and play. Like, for me, next season, Mikey Moore should start left winger. The first game of the season, he should be our starting left winger. Right now, I don't think we have a real left winger that we can rely on. I do like Matthias Tell. There's debate whether he's a winger or a forward or a striker. Sorry, obviously Odegaard is going to be out for months still. We're not going to have him back. Mikey Moore should be the starting left winger come the next season. Will that be the case? Will they go out there and try and sign a star? Will they? We just don't know. And again, the fact is, it feels like anything we're going to say, the club will do the opposite, because we feel like we've got an idea of what might develop the team, what might develop us going forward. I don't know. It's what's going to make the most money for the club. That's what they're thinking about. So it's a bit, again, we all have like an idea of what we'd like, and I'd love to see some of these young players come in, Mikey Moore especially. I mean, I don't know what's happening with Vuskovic right now, but for me, if he's at the club, he's one of the first names on the team sheet every single week next season, because he looks that impressive. It's whether he's going to stay, we don't know.
The likelihood we'll lose a number of bigger names. But before 100%. We could sit here for another few hours talking and building a squad, and that's something that me and Cal love to do, and I could do it all day long. And we probably will do this in the summer. We'll build our own squads between the 4 of us or 5 of us once size got over the 2 bob bits. But just coming to you, Phil, Forest are obviously losing in their Europa League fixture to Midtjylland. They're also away, which is on Thursday. So we've got an extra day's rest and we're at home. Surely this helps us moving into Sunday.
It should do, shouldn't it? It should do. But we've been in that position so many times, haven't we? Where we've played teams who've been away from home, and we've had extra days rest, or we've had a whole week rest, and then we just don't turn up. So it should do. I think that if we'd lost against Liverpool, regardless of whether it had been 4-0 or if we just lost 1-0, there would have been a lot more pressure on Forest next week, because we wouldn't have this feel-good factor from it. Forest are going to be under a lot of pressure as well on Sunday, especially if they go out of Europe, on Thursday. That's not an easy tie. So they're going to be under pressure. I don't think they're just going to turn up there and kind of start, playing, free-flowing football, right? Because the pressure's all on us. It's on both teams. But we do have more time. And we've got the injured players coming back, and I think Bergvall will get minutes against Forest. He'll come off the bench at least. I think Udogie will probably play against Forest if he's fit enough, because he just offers straight away that balance on the left. And you can still play Sousa as a winger or as a midfielder or something, right? If he wants to, you can play Sousa right wing if he wants, and play Tell left wing. Maybe a bit more inverted if needed, So there's lots of options there. But yeah, I would like to think that Forest, they've got the travel, haven't they? They're only going to be back on Friday. They're going to have a bit of training maybe on Friday, and then that's it, So then they've got to travel down to London. Let's just keep things nice and stable this week. Let's not get thrashed tomorrow. Let's just play it simple tomorrow and just do the right things calmly this week. And I think we go into that game as favourites now, actually. Not getting carried away, right? Not getting carried away, right? It's very easy to say, we got that point. The players had that positivity and energy, and it's all changed now. We're back, It's very easy to go like that, isn't it? But I honestly believe that we go into that game now as favourites, despite our overall run of form. And just having those injured players back does make a big difference. Makes a huge difference,
momentum
I think,
purposes,
actually.
doesn't it? It helps us as well as a fan base knowing that we've got, Joseph, a bit of a bench, because on Sunday we had 7 out of a possible 9, and 2 of them were goalkeepers, which was quite worrying. But looking ahead at tomorrow's game, do you think the Champions League's an unwanted distraction or a good opportunity, Joseph, to continue building momentum?
To be honest, I would rather not have it. I think having that sole focus on Sunday would be helpful. And obviously you've got to hope that we come through unscathed with no other injuries tomorrow, which, we got Paulinho and Romero both out for that Liverpool game from the Atletico Madrid game. So I think it's unwanted personally. It doesn't mean that it can't be helpful, doesn't mean that it can't be useful. And again, we don't really have it much as an excuse because Nottingham Forest have got an important European tie midweek as well. So yeah, it's it's not the end of the world. I mean, for me, I do agree with what you're saying, Phil. And I do think that we should be going into the game on Sunday with a lot more confidence. The only thing I would say is that as much as it was great to pick up a result against Liverpool, again, I feel like we didn't have much pressure in that game personally, because I think although when we played Palace, there was a lot of pressure because I think everyone was going, we have to win this game. We have to win this game. The game against Liverpool, I don't think anyone was expecting anything, anything more than a loss. So we were going into it, and I think, with all the injuries, everything around the club, I think everyone's going, yep, we're going to lose this game. Tudor will get sacked. We'll have to, we really need a result against Forest. And maybe that helped them. I think it probably did, because they probably went into it feeling a similar way, thinking, Anfield away, we never get a result. This is always the game we're going to lose. And getting a point, again, it really does help. And again, having some of these injuries back. But on Sunday, there's an expectation. There's 60,000 people in that stadium who expect a win against Nottingham Forest. And it's not going to be easy because Forest are a solid side. They've been picking up decent results, obviously getting a draw away at the Etihad, getting a draw this week. Obviously, maybe not the best result for them, but still, it was a solid performance and they were okay in the game. They probably could have beaten Fulham overall. So I think, again, there's going to be that pressure. And again, you're at home. The fans will be on you if you're not playing well. Because I know there's been a lot of talk about the fans getting behind the team. And I'm sure they will do before the game and as the game starts. But when things don't go our way, it turns toxic very quickly. And it's how the players do with that. And so far, we haven't seen them really process that very well. So again, I'm hoping that we see, an improved performance and we see a lot more confidence, a lot more bravery. But I just think we need to be cautious because this is a game on Sunday. It's probably our most important game of the season, one of our most important games we've had in such a long time. And it is a must win 3 points. We have to win this game. Have to, in my opinion.
It's a big 6 pointer, isn't it? For me, it's the biggest game, I think, probably in all of our lives. And look, we've been in cup finals, domestic and European, but none of those cup finals, domestic or European, have ever had the long-term future of our football club on the line. And I truly believe this weekend there is.
Sorry, my dog went crazy.
Made me
as well.
That
makes me need the toilet. But this Sunday, there is going to be a huge celebration. I don't know if anybody has seen similar scenes when Everton stayed up. There was a huge atmosphere leading into their final few games. I've shared this. This was shared with me earlier. And the information for it is show up, sing up, stay up, save our Tottenham, play our part, back the players. Our club needs us more than ever, loyal Spurs supporters from generations past and present. This is a Sunday before the game, 11:30. There's a big meet, which is between the Bricklayers and the Sonny Memorial. The club are putting up some barriers in and around that area, so it'll be very, very clear where you need to go. This is our moment. Get down to N17 early and make an impact. Meet the coach, which is due in at 1 p.m. on the Tottenham High Road. Between, as I say, the Bricklayers and Sonny Memorial, and welcome them as they arrive into the stadium. So there is best over 500 people watching this. Hopefully, majority of you are headed to the game this weekend. Please do get involved in that and make it a huge atmosphere because by all accounts and some information that was shared with me earlier, that Tottenham's players could hear Spurs supporters in the changing room before the Europa League final. So they are, and that essentially gave them a big lift. So we need to go into these final few home games, especially this Nottingham Forest game, giving them everything we have. But Cal, just coming to you, Sunday for me, as I say, this is one of the biggest weeks, in my opinion, coming up with Sunday's game. Where do you sit heading into it? Do you think it's an opportunity to rest some of our key players for Sunday, or do those need to play just to try and keep some momentum going?
I would love to say that we can rest some of them to take it, but I don't think we even have the squad to rest key players, to be honest. I don't even think we have enough youngsters at the moment. I mean, looking at the 21s game and the 18s game the last 2 days, we're still missing Byfield, Williams, Barnett, Thompson, Malia, players like that who would have filled squad places in the first. So I think that any game against Atletico will have probably 2 goalkeepers on the bench. I believe Richarlison, is he suspended, isn't he, as well for that game? So we're already down 1 person. Dom Solanke could have a niggle as well. So that's something to bear in mind. Gallagher hasn't been confirmed to be returned to training. Basuma's out as well, just because we chose not to take him seriously and put him in
And
the squad.
Sousa as well is not registered.
And Sousa. So we're already on and Paulinho. So we're on a tightrope with that game. So you're going to have to play your first there. And then also, like you say, Sunday is and who would have thought at the start of the season that we would say a game against Nottingham Forest at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium could be a big defining game, realistically. But it is. It's just the way that we've allowed it to happen. So we want to see Mickey. We want to see potentially Romero if the concussion protocol is sorted out by then. We want to see Udogie. We want to see Porro. We want to see a back 4. We don't want to see a back 3-5-2 again for it. I believe, and this is where I really, really hope I'm wrong, but I think we will revert to a back bloody 3 against Atletico again. And all the good things that we praised him for against Liverpool will be sitting here probably on Thursday night, if we have the guts to podcast again, saying what the hell has happened to it. But it's such a big game, and we have to take. I would like to take both games seriously. I just don't think we have the squad capable of it at the moment.
No, Phil, coming to you, just on the formation setup, his default seems to be a back 3, isn't it? And now there's potential. Mickey is obviously back. Danzo was excellent at the weekend, and then Christian Romero's basically been confirmed as playing. He said the other 2, Udogie and Bergvall, will be on the bench, and Romero is back. So we take that as he's starting. For me, it has to be a back 4. I'd even just move Mickey to left back, but it just feels like he's going to take all of the good brownie points we were talking about and kind of throw them away.
This is where I would hope just to see a bit of common sense and a bit of intelligence is the wrong word, but you know what I mean, just that mixture of common sense and intelligence to just keep the structure of the team that worked so well. Unfortunately, as you said, the temptations are there. Mickey slots in perfectly in that back 3, doesn't he? We've still got Spence and Porro who offer options. For all we know, Porro will end up playing right centre back again suddenly. Which if that happens, I'll just go crazy. I can't see something like that happening again. Although actually one of the bigger pods, I don't know if it was the Extra Inch or something like that, but one of the pods was talking about why they thought he played Porro at right centre back, and it was for his passing, to be able to, get the ball quicker, assuming Vicario's passing the ball out to the right into his position, right? To be able to progress the pass more regularly and up the field, right, rather than passing it to a Dragossi, whoever else is playing there on the right. But whatever happens, it's a poor decision. I just hope he's got that common sense, as you said, Gary. Mickey can play on the left. We say it every week though. He's not played there this season once. He's probably not going to play there this season, right? How many times have we said to the manager, to Thomas Frank, probably even under Range at some points, right? I was like, give him a chance at left back.
Play there international. He's going to be playing there in the World Cup, Phil. He'll be playing there in the World Cup.
He's been playing there for the Netherlands for well over a year, I think, if not longer. I'll pop downstairs on the street and just ask a few people what his best position is.
We don't know where you'll end up if you pop. We don't know where you're going to end up if you pop down onto those streets in Amsterdam.
I'm locked in the hotel. I'm safe.
We wonder what hotel you're locked into. Mickey van der Ven did say though today, regarding some reports that have come out. He said, of course, I've seen the things written. Reporters just say things sometimes, and it's like, how do you come up with this? Like players, we have to switch off. It's not true. They say the players are going to leave either way. It's just nonsense, and people, fans, are starting to believe it. Just quickly from all of you, so I am conscious of time. Where do you sit on the comments from Mickey van der Ven, Joseph? Because it feels like at one point he was our darling, and then, as we do with most of our players, we want to knock them when times get tough.
I think the comments are fair, like him saying that. I mean, it is. I think people are very quick to believe everything you read, and I think when you ultimately say that, especially when things have been so negative recently, and that came out before, especially before that Liverpool game, I think it just is piling on, and everyone's kind of like reading into every single part of the club and just going up, a lot of people have wrote him off. I've been disappointed with Van Ven this season. I think he's been quite poor, especially in important moments. And I do think he will leave at the end of the year. Now, I'm not saying he's going around the training ground saying, I'm going to leave at the end of the year. I don't care about Tottenham. I doubt he is saying that, because if he was, that's awful from a professional, especially being employed by someone. But we're not going to be in Europe next year. I know you said, you never know if we did something in the Champions League, but it's not going to happen. And the fact is, he's not going to be here if we're not going to be in the Champions League. I don't see him staying with us if we're not in any kind of European competition, and that's fair enough. For him, I think it's right for him to make that move if he wants to. So it is. It is what it is. But the comments themselves, I don't blame him. I think he's right to call out the journalists on that, because the journalists are just people make up stories to get clicks, and it's a shame because journalism. It takes away from really good journalism that's being done when you see journalists just pick at little moments and try and get some kind of soundbite, and rather than actually just giving the news to fans that want to hear the real news.
They're not checking, are they? Because I know the journalist that started it, where I saw it from anyway, and they're a very good journalist, and I enjoy a lot of their work, but they started it. And then I did notice that they were ones that shared his speech saying that it wasn't acceptable, and I thought, well, you kind of were the person that started this from what I could have seen. But just quick update on scores. Chelsea are losing 1-0 at home to PSG, which seems like they're kind of dead and buried. It is still 0-0 between Man City and Real Madrid. This is after about 12 minutes. We're going to come around to everyone. One final question, and then we're going to sign off for the night. There's just over 500 people watching, so again, we really do appreciate it. Have all of our X accounts up on screen if you wouldn't mind giving us a follow, and then obviously Project Spurs over on YouTube as well. The spelling is in the top right hand or left hand corner, however you're looking at the screen. Callum, just coming to you. Hypothetically, lose to Forest, and does it all change again in terms of Igor Tudor?
Realistically, yeah, because the league is what we're playing for.
Yeah, nice and to the point. Love that. Phil, seems as though Tudor, according to Sky Sports, will get both these games this week. Is that the right decision for you, given there is a 3-week gap between the following fixture?
Yeah, it's the right decision. And I think after that result of the weekend and the performance, I think he deserves that. I don't think there's any benefit in changing a manager this week ahead of Forest, because we don't know yet. If we win against Forest, then he's safe. And to be honest, if we win against Forest, then we're staying up. If we beat Forest on Sunday, I can't see us going down. Like we will have enough in the tank. We will have the momentum. We will have those 3 points. We're staying up. I will put everything on the line. If we beat Forest on Sunday, we're staying up. And then Tudor is staying until the end of the season. Unless if we suddenly lose 4 games in a row, which I think is unlikely at that point. No. If we lose to Forest, then as Cal said, if we lose to Forest, then he should go, because there's no point, right? It's all or nothing in that game. A new manager would need to come in if we lose, and as we say, he's got three weeks to work with the squad. So bring a Spurs legend in, as we've discussed before, or whatever. only if we lose against Forest, I would say. If we get a draw against Forest,
Keep him, in
I don't
my
know
opinion.
the answer to that question. Probably keep him. Yeah.
I think a draw, keeping him, because it probably do more harm than it's doing good. And reality is, if we match their results to the rest of the season, we're still in the Premier League. That's the reality that we're in. I know that's not ideal, but that is the reality where it is. Joseph, has your opinion changed of Tudor given the draw at the weekend?
Overall, no, it hasn't. I still don't think he is the right manager. I agree. I don't think there's any benefit in sacking him right now. I just think, you've got to try and use what little bit of momentum we've got from that Liverpool game and see if he can get a result on Sunday. Again, it's going to be down to what he chooses to do from here on out. Again, if we see a different formation, I'll be disappointed against Atlético Madrid or against Forest. I just think we need to keep it simple, have the players' passion and heart and fight really be the reason if we're going to get results or not, because they are good enough players. It's just whether they really want to fight for it. And let's not overcomplicate it. Let's keep it simple and see what we can do. But, like Phil says, that game on Sunday is just so vital. And I think it could be the difference between staying up or going down. I think if we get the win, it's going to really even revitalise the squad even more. The fans are going to be off their back a little bit and maybe feeling a bit more positive about things. And, we'll go into that 3-week break, hoping some players come back as well. And, when we come to that next game, I think it might be Sunderland away at that point. I'm not sure, I might be wrong. But, at that point, I mean, Sunderland haven't been great at home or they haven't been good recently either. So it's just, everything starts feeling a lot more positive. And but again, it's all down to that, how he's going to set up the team. I'm quite concerned that he might go back to that back three, and I really hope he doesn't. I just hope he keeps it simple, and let's try and play football that way.
I'm the same. I've got this odd feeling in the back of my mind he's going to revert back to that back three, which I just don't think he should be. He'd go to the 4-4-2 if we have to, put Kolo Muani and Xavi Simons up front. You could even put Tel up front and Xavi Simons out on the left if we really had to. Just in terms of some scores around... before we sign off, Bodo Glimt were obviously 3-0 up in their first leg against Sporting Lisbon. It is now 4-0 Sporting Lisbon in extra time. So at the moment, I kind of like Bodo Glimt, and I think everybody likes Bodo Glimt. They are exiting the Champions League. Arsenal and Leverkusen is currently 0-0. It's Chelsea 0, Paris Saint-Germain 2. 7-2 on aggregate. I think that is a game over for the teacher there at Chelsea. And Man City, Real Madrid is 0-0. Just quickly come round to you for score predictions for tomorrow night. Cal, starting with you.
I'm going to say 3-2 on the night to Atlético.
3-2?
Yeah, to Atlético on the night.
So that'd be 8-4 on aggregate, which is an absolutely insane result. Joseph?
I'd go 2-2. I think we can get something from the game. But again, it doesn't matter to me. To be honest, I watched the game. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it somewhat for some reason. But yeah, I'm not expecting a result. Again, it's just about hopefully coming through it unscathed, no injuries, and just getting ready for that game on Sunday. That's what matters.
So 7-4 on aggregate for you. Me, I think it's going to be 1-1, which will make it 6-3 on aggregate. I think it'll be 1-1. I'm not going to this game. It's the first game all season I'll miss at home. Part of me is thinking I should end up going because this might be the last European night at Tottenham for a while. But I've decided I'm not going to go for any other reason than money, I guess. I don't want to keep throwing 100 and something pounds at it, and my wife is also going out, so it's a little bit difficult. But Phil, coming to you, your prediction?
I've got a little feeling about tomorrow. I'm going to be positive and go with a Spurs win. I'm going to go for a 2-1.
2-1
with the hope that we turn up, bring a bit of that vibe with us. And actually play a bit more solidly as well. That's with the back four. By the way. Back three. Back three. It's 4-1 to Atletico.
So that's 6.
If I quickly say though, let's be honest, that game against Atletico, we could have easily got a result. If we didn't have those mistakes at the start of the game to go 3-0 down, That game was 2-2, and we had plenty of chances to score more. I don't
Yep.
think it's impossible that we can try and make a comeback. I don't expect it. I just don't think it's impossible. I don't think this Atletico Madrid team is as good as, they
No, we
They got
gave
the
them a
result.
3-0 head start.
100%. So you never know. You never know what we can
Anything
do.
can beat a 3-0 head start. And equally, if you look at
But
it on Sunday, we had more than I mean, Richarlison could have scored a hat trick. I'm more
But that's
confident
it's
Richarlison than he
happening.
could have.
It's
That's
happening in the
something
Champions League at the
for
moment.
Tudor.
Like, I mean, Juventus did it against Galatasaray. I know they ended up losing, but they overcame a 3-goal, deficit against Galatasaray in the last round. You've got Sporting who've just done it to Bodo Glimt. I mean, again, I know Atletico Madrid are a decent side, but we could easily get in behind them. We got in behind them plenty of times and had so many chances. It's whether we're going to be able to keep them out is the problem. I don't know if we really can, but you never know. We'll have to wait and see.
Just playing
We
the
had
devil's
opportunities
advocate
on Sunday.
Just playing devil's advocate quickly, even against Palace, right? We obviously scored, didn't we? And it was only really after the Van der Ven sending off, right? That everything collapsed. And against Atletico, we did have the chances, right? We gave them a good game. I mean, that does speak a bit for Tudor. If you analyze it like that, if you look at the distances run in the game, look at some of the look at some of the chances we've created. We could have scored more against Atletico. We could have scored more against Liverpool. Right? Maybe it's not quite as bad. I mean, we know that we just give away stupid presents, right? Gifts. We self-destruct always. But in terms of actual play, the football itself and the solidity of the team, if he plays a back four, maybe we are getting a bit better, really. Maybe Tudor is having a bit more of an impact than we think.
Big news in Man City. Bernard Silva has been sent off. He handballed on the goal line for a penalty. It's it's pretty bad. He's got his arm behind it like this, and then he moves in and hits the ball on the goal line. It's a penalty to Real Madrid currently. He's been sent off, so it looks like that's Man City also going.
We might not have the
1-0.
worst result in Europe in Europe, this week. Surprisingly,
No,
after going 3-0 down in 15 minutes, overall we might not end up having the worst result because PSG
currently it looks like Chelsea.
Yeah,
it looks like Chelsea. Obviously, Man City are losing now 4-0 on aggregate. So, Bodo Glimt are now 5-0 down, which is such a shame. Tremendous place, and I think all of us wanted to see Bodo Glimt go on.
I like their manager. I think he's good, to be fair, and it's he wouldn't be the worst option to consider him probably to come to England in the near future. I would say probably not to Spurs, but somewhere lower. Well, I would say lower down in the Premier League. But I would say lower down in the Premier League, but we're kind of there or thereabouts at the moment, aren't we? So I can't really say how I would have done last year, or no, actually the year before, because we was in this same shit then. But
just before we leave, there is a question for Brummy Sai, who's is watching. He's sent a message through. He's got the 2-bob bit. I don't know if he has. I'm just saying that, but I wonder if he's got his white shirt and tie on. I'm sure he has. I'm sure it's been washed, ready for this. But we are going to call it a night. It's been about an hour and 20 minutes. Over 500 of you still watching, which I do appreciate. Please do follow the lads on X and us on YouTube. That'd be great. Not sure if we're going to stream straight after the game on Thursday. It's probably going to be a bit too late, so we'll try and do something in between if possible. But we'll be back on Sunday, I hope. After a huge victory, I'll be sharing some videos and the atmosphere before the game and during the game. But Cal, have you got anything you like to share with your adoring fans?
Well, all I can say is I'm guessing I'm hosting Sunday then if you're going to the game. So I know that I'm giving up my Sunday afternoon as usual. So, but yeah, no, as always, thanks to everyone for watching it. It's been a more uplifting show, not even therapy this time. So, yeah, happy days. Obviously, follow me at CamSubs97 and on X, and just give me a shout out if you want to.
Joseph, you were chipper today. Very happy. You wanted to come on 4 hours early, and you were 10 minutes late. But You normally
You have to
10
bring that
minutes
up.
early.
I'm about to say, I'm always the one who's ready
Yeah.
on time. I'm waiting for
You
Calvin,
are.
waiting for Phil, waiting for Si. You have to bring it up, don't you? Anyway,
Yeah.
no, I am feeling a lot more positive. Again, let's hope Tottenham don't ruin it and give us something to. Again, tomorrow's a bit of a free hit. Whatever happens, happens. Again, just hopefully no injuries. But then, yeah, Sunday, most important game of the season, one of the most important games in recent years, and we just gotta hope we can get something from it. So yeah, looking forward to them. We need these results, and hopefully everyone can get behind the team. But yeah, if you want to follow me, Joseph THFC on X, really appreciate it.
Excellent. And Phil, we critical time for you because obviously the red light district is closing, so we know that you need to nip out. Anyway, please share anything that you are, anything you've got to share. Please do so.
Not what you're going to be bringing back or carrying from that red light
Yes,
place. Thank
yes.
you, mate.
Yeah. Keep it PG, please. Keep it PG.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to go and get a pizza or a kebab or something now, actually. I haven't really eaten tonight, so that'd be a nice finish to the proceedings. Yeah.
Is that code word? Is that code word, mate?
Yeah, I don't know what type of kebab. Let's see. Well, my final thoughts. Look, I'm excited. About Tottenham. I'm excited about Tottenham again. That 1 point has brought some energy in. So yeah, I'm excited about actually watching Spurs again randomly tomorrow and on Sunday. So yeah, I'm just gonna go and enjoy my kebab now and
say hello to her from us.
No?
Oh God.
It's nearly as bad as Mr. Motivator when he came on.
So yeah, hashtag excited about Spurs again. Mini excitement about Spurs, rather than being depressed ahead of a game, expecting the worst. Let's be positive.
Absolutely.
For both games. And then we've got 3 weeks off. So let's do it.
Don't know what we're going to do with ourselves really in those 3 weeks. What I think we might
eat kebabs.
We could do that live. That could be interesting. I think maybe looking at planning a squad, something like that, maybe in the Premier League and outside the Premier League, something like that, and some interviews with some other guests. But as I say, there is over 500 people, so we've had about 3,000 people watch today's streams here. This is obviously back-to-back Project Spurs. So to those that have watched for all of it, I really do appreciate your support. It means a lot to the lads as it does to me. We do just do this really for therapy. We love talking about Tottenham, and we love talking about Tottenham with you all. We are receiving more and more comments and questions every time that we stream as well, which is brilliant. Please keep them coming in because we'll happily answer as many questions as you send us. But let's hope for some positivity tomorrow, and definitely we need a win on Sunday. And so if you are heading to the game, make sure you bring everything you've got, go for it, support the lads, and let's get them and drag them across that line. But from me, the lads, and our Brummy friend as well, good night. God bless.